Hello there and welcome to This is the Day. My name is Sarah Otieno. We are live on Family Radio and also live on Family TV. Remember, you can contact us on 0786-316-316. That is the WhatsApp number. The SMS line is 20316. And someone was telling me, why do you leave out Facebook? Well, on Facebook, you can get me at Family Radio 316. That is where we will get to interact and talk more about the topics and the discussions that we are having right here on This is the Day. Well, the rate of unemployment in our country is at 9.31%. And trust me, that is not a very small number. It has decreased, yes, but the numbers are still very high. We have a lot of people in Kenya right now who have studied. You know, you have gone through primary school, secondary school, and even gone through campuses and colleges, but you still end up not having a job. Well, that is what we call unemployment. But I'll tell you something. It's not that these people are willing not to work. It's because they're having a difficult time getting jobs. So a friend of mine this morning was telling me that, why can't employees just give people jobs? Well, look at it this way. How many were you in your school before you graduated? And how many job opportunities are there right now? There are so many, and the ratio is totally different. You know, the number of people who graduate from schools to colleges and graduate from colleges, from universities, is very high compared to the number of job openings that we have in our country. And that is leading to the high and increasing number of unemployment, especially among the youth in our country. Well, there's so many ways of ensuring that you at least get a job. Doesn't matter your experience, doesn't matter what qualifications you have, which of course are a plus, but how will you maneuver yourself to go around this? And sometimes you might tell yourself that I have a good career, that is always have a ready job market and all that. But if you're not among the few who have good careers, who have ready job openings, what do you do? Do you just sit at home and relax and say that, okay, I am officially in the unemployment category? Or do you go out there to work hard and make sure that the next time unemployment is being advertised, you are among the people who are advertising to get these jobs? And do you take that step to make sure that you have your ways in place to make sure that you are the one person who gets that job? In companies, we do not employ two HR consultants. We do not have two positions for the same. Companies will not pay two people for the same jobs, only one. So how many companies are there in this country? But how many people have studied for HR? So many. Human resources, one of the subjects and one of the courses that is studied extremely, if I may use that word, in our country. But we have so many people, yet less job offers. So what do you do to make sure that it is you and not the other person who is picked? Today in studio, our guest will be talking to us about how to job hunt, what to do and not what to do to make sure that you are the one who gets that job and not the other person. Your qualifications are on check. What are some of the things that you need to consider during this process of job hunting to make sure that you are not left out? And what are some of the mistakes that we do when job hunting, so that we are left out? You know, this is something that we need to talk about. And continue sending in your questions and SMS and every comment that you have, every issue that is disturbing your head about job hunting and how you want to get to the next level. In studio today, we shall just dive in and talk about maneno ya unemployment. I have Lucy Wanyika. She is a HR consultant and the head hunter from Janta, Kenya. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's today. Good to see you in the first place. You look amazing.
Thank you.
Clearly this year has been good for you, eh?
Yes. Let me say that, but God has been good.
Yeah, God has been faithful.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think, Lucy, that Kenyans are jobless?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. I would say, while it seems that there might be a decline in the rate of unemployment, the statistics are just numbers, and it depends also on who's doing the polling. But there's been a very large number of redundancies this year, and we've seen large corporations letting go of thousands of employees, mainly because of financial crisis. Many companies are not able to sustain large numbers of employees. Technology as well has played a role in people being made redundant. Sometimes it's cheaper to run a machine-operated environment, which makes having a lot of employees unnecessary.
Yeah.
You'll also find there's a large number of youth coming into the market. Majority of our population is between 15 to 24, and they're coming into a market where most positions are already taken. So unless they go into new spaces like tech, if you're not going into that, then there's a problem there. And then people are studying the same course in
a lot of people are studying the same course.
Yeah, a lot of you'll find people will look for white collar kind of courses in campus. Few people are studying blue collar blue collar jobs. Which is where the jobs are actually.
Yes.
So you'll find those employers are struggling to hire for those roles. So there's an imbalance, especially in guidance, in career guidance, in especially high school campus for young people. And people influence each other. That's how they select careers for university and college.
Okay, you've talked about influencing, and we've had so many cases of people doing courses because my mom wants me to be a doctor.
Sure.
Can that be one of the causes why a lot of people, and especially the youth, are jobless in our country?
I believe if you are going to deal with this, you first must educate the parent.
Yeah.
Because the parent is the one who will help the child make that decision, or educate the child, or ensure that the child is educated in the career options that they have. You will find to date most adults, or even parents of people who are teens, even from the age of 10, where the child is already forming an opinion on what they want to be in future, and that actually matters from age 10. You'll find a lot of parents still are not as informed in what options they are career-wise, based on the child's personality, the child's ability, depending on what psychometric abilities they have. So they're not able to guide the child in terms of what kind of career path to follow. So you'll find someone will tell a child, oh, you should become a lawyer, or you should become a doctor.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But then what kind of doctor do you want to become? There's so many options in terms of the medical field. It's very, very broad. So if the person doesn't make it to become a doctor, there are so many other options within the medical field that they could possibly get a career out of.
All right. And can you also say the issue of not having so many jobs in our country, because that is something that we need to talk about. We do not have so many job opportunities in our country, and that is the reason why a lot of people are just going home instead of going to the office.
In terms of job opportunity, it's heavily dependent on how the economy is doing. We could beat around the bush, but if the economy is not doing well, definitely the job market will suffer. We always say the government is the biggest spender in the economy. If the government is broke, then the number one, tier one corporate blue chip companies who actually interact business-wise with the government will not be able to sustain business. And that will trickle down to the SME. So if there are no thriving businesses, no thriving companies, then we're actually closing down the job market. So it is directly linked to
linked to the government,
to how the economy is doing.
All right. So when this process of job hunting, and of course we graduated like 200 of us, and all of us are doing mass communication. I'll give an example of that. And there's so many, and they're limited actually, media houses in our country, and we all want to go there. So what is that one key thing that I should make sure that is different when I'm looking for these jobs, so that I can stand out? What is it?
One, you must know what you want. I interview, I would say 100 or per week of candidates. And the one thing I will find with candidates is they don't know what they want. And yes, I want a job. That's nice. But what kind of job do you want? Where do you see? These are what we call cliche questions, which personally I don't ask, because usually I will not get the correct answer. But if you don't know what you want out of life, or what you don't know what you want out of your career, and when I say that, it must be measurable.
Yeah.
So you must say, in 1 year, I want to hold this position, I want to grow to this position, I want to go into the position. You have researched the industry that you want to get into. You know what kind of jobs are there. Number one, if I want to be a TV presenter, what does it take? What is the job description of a TV presenter? Is it that she speaks very well? Is she good looking? Beyond that, what is there that is required of the job? What kind of research skills? Do I have that on my CV? Once I look at a job description, does my CV fit that? Does my persona fit that?
Yeah.
Do I look the part? Do I talk the part? So you'll find that people feel like they should be entitled because they have gone to school and studied for it.
I mean, I have a PhD. Why not employ me?
Yeah. But you see, it's a competition. If today you were to bet on anything, which is not good. But anyway, if you were to bet, you are competing with so many other people who are also participating in the game, isn't it? So why would you also think that if I put in my CV, I should actually expect an answer?
Yeah.
And yet you're competing with hundreds of other candidates. So does your CV stand out? Is it a good-looking CV? Is it articulated well? Is it in good English? Is it font the same throughout the document?
Yeah.
Is it easy to read? Will it stand out if it's printed out? Is it going to look better than others? When I present myself for an interview, do I look the part? Do I talk the part? Do I stand out from other candidates?
And that also goes down to dressing, right?
It goes down to dressing. It goes down to how you speak, how you smile at the interviewer. It's a whole process where you're packaging a product, and that product is you as an individual.
Yeah.
So as you would sell anything, if I told you I'm selling this pen to you, you would have to look at it and think, why do I want to buy a pen?
Yeah.
Why should I buy that pen? Why not another pen? So that's why you need to think of the whole interview process like a sales process. I have put in my brochure, which is my CV. I have done a presentation, which is the interview.
Yeah.
I have done follow-up. I have asked, so how long do you expect to go through this interviewing process?
Yeah.
How long should I wait? And after that long, have you called to find out if they have completed the process? What kind of follow-through have you done? Have you done, extra? Do you want extra credentials? Do you want extra references? Just to ensure that they're more comfortable with you. So if you treat that process with the respect it deserves, you're more likely to get the job than other candidates.
Wow. And you talked about the CV, and I can't help but wonder, these days there's so many ways of writing a CV, and day in, day out, another format keeps cropping up. But you talked about an interesting part of the font, and how the font should be the same. Please elaborate more about that.
I'll tell you this. I would say 90% of the CVs we receive. I'm trying to look for a word that's not rude, but they're under par. I would say that because remember the psyche of the person who's reading it. First of all, they'll only take about 5 seconds to read a CV because they have so many CVs to look at. So it takes about 5 seconds for them to look through a document. So psychologically, the things they might not pick up, like they will read a document and go looking for, okay, so do they meet their qualifications? Do they have the experience required? But as they're looking through a document, if things are not aligned properly, it will disturb them without them knowing why they don't particularly like a document.
Yes.
So some of these things are subconscious. So if your document is all over the place, here you've used Times New Roman, here there's Trebuchet, here there's Georgia, and all over the place. You can tell, for me, sometimes I can tell this has been copy pasted into this document. So this one went, Googled, put some things, so probably this is not what their responsibilities were in the previous one. So, but you need to think about the psychology of writing documents and reading documents, so that you are ahead of the game already, because you want to make it to at least the first shortlist before even you get to the second shortlist. So you must be keen. That's why we did grammar in school.
Yes.
So that you're able to write documents, so that we don't think that you're not good enough just because of a document that describes you. Yeah.
What about for those people who like highlighting the headline with the colors, and they want to go akiandika skills, it's capitalized, it's put in italics. Does that matter?
I would say yes and no. So long as the document is easy to read and it's not too much and not too colorful, then it's fine. But also for some positions, it might come off as too much. Say, for example, if you're an accountant and your document is too flowery and there's even a flowery background, then it becomes a bit off. But for a creative, that would be perfectly okay. So it also depends on the career path that you're choosing, what is expected and what is the norm for that industry. That must also be considered.
All right, continue sending in your questions about job hunting, whatever question you have about that process. 0786-316-316, that is the WhatsApp number. SMS line is 20316. In the meantime, Madam Lucy, Austin from South Bay saying, I am blessed with the conversation. Thank you so much and God bless you. Say hi to the HR consultant. Hi, Lucy. I have, what's your name? Your name is Wambu. Wambu is saying, hi, I am tuned in and I love the conversation, learning a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Well, let me ask you, Lucy, despite, or rather, CVs aside, what are some of the common mistakes that we do while job hunting so that at the end of the day, we end up without the job, frustrated, What are these mistakes?
I would say the number one mistake, the biggest mistake that any person looking for a job will do is not to look for a job.
Not to look.
I have met so many people who tell me, I've been looking for a job for years, I have been struggling, and so I asked them, so how many times do you send an application? And you'll find someone telling you once in 3 weeks, once in 2 weeks. And I'm like, you're not serious.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're jobless, then your full-time job is to find a job. So that means when you wake up in the morning, when people are at work at 8, you start looking for a job. By 5, you close looking for a job.
It's a job on its own.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah.
When you don't have a job, looking for a job is a full-time job. So, and I'll ask these questions. When I see a gap in your CV and you have been jobless for 5 months, I'll ask you, so what have you been doing in these 5 months? And if you tell me I've been looking for a job, and what else?
Yeah.
And how have you been looking? So those are the things I will want to find out, because I will guarantee you someone who makes finding a job a full-time job are way more likely to get a job. Because one, I'll tell you this, we will put out an advert for a job.
Yeah.
And we will put the deadline, when is it today? Today is 17th. We will put the deadline on 27th of December. But I'll guarantee you by Friday, we'll be doing interviews.
Okay, so it happens like that in your industry.
We'll be doing interviews.
Yeah.
So you will be saying, you'll procrastinate and say, I'll send the application on Monday. By that time, we have already moved on. Another problem with job hunting that I find a lot of candidates do is having a sense of entitlement.
Yeah.
And that is especially with young people nowadays. They feel like the world owes them. So if I'm not getting a job, then it's everyone else's fault, apart from mine. Let's blame the government, let's blame the economy, let's do this.
Yes.
But if you are determined to get what you want, and you're not desperate for it, but you are determined, the world conspires to give you what you want. So I feel if you're hardworking, if you have good work ethic, even on things like looking for work, you will get what you're looking for. I'm a believer in that. Yeah.
So someone else is saying, your name is Sarah from Eldama Ravine. Wow, that's very far from here. That's in Baringo County. She's saying, I'm listening online and thank you so much for the good discussion. I am learning a lot. I must admit that finding a job is a full-time job, like she has said, because it is a job just like looking for a dress for a party for ladies. You must find what you want.
That's correct. That's correct. And the thing is, if you if you're interested in something, for example, I want to work for Family TV, I want to be a radio presenter, I'll come to Family TV.
Yes.
I'll speak to the receptionist. I'll ask her, how do people get jobs here? She'll tell you, oh, when we put up an advert, you can apply then. It's like, but what if I really, really want a job here?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's the person who'll say, okay, fine, here's my CV, when, you know, call me. Then there's the person who'll actually sit and have that conversation with her. It's like, really, I'm really looking for a job. Even if it's a volunteer role, or even if it's just internship, I really want to learn about this organization. You understand? So if they show that kind of determination, even the person at the gate will try and make things work for you, because they can see how bad you want it. You understand? But if you sat at home and said,
I have sent a CV, let me wait for the phone call,
let me now wait for the phone call, you will be very depressed very quickly. So that's the thing, you must work towards to getting a job.
All right, we have Waziri. I'm enjoying the show. Kindly ask, what questions should one ask when given a chance to ask questions during an interview? That is Waziri who wants to know that.
Well, what an interviewer wants to see is that you've done research on their organization. And the worst thing you can do is to go into an interview and you're asked, what do you know about us? And you say, I don't know.
Ama, do you have a question and say no?
No, that's also another mistake. So you need to sound interesting enough. So if you're asked to give questions, show how much you have researched on the organization. So it says, if it's an accounting job, you posted this kind of revenue last year. Previous year you posted that kind of revenue. What do you feel has been the challenge in this? You know, if you're asking questions that have shown that you have actually interest in the organization, that you have done your research, that's the kind of person they want to hire, as opposed to sitting there and say, how much are you paying for this job? Which is the absolute worst question you can ask.
So it's wrong to ask for
It
the
is the
remuneration.
absolute worst question you can ask.
Really? I think that is where most Kenyans go wrong. How
Mm.
much am I going to get?
Yes.
You know?
So it's like, and they will ask it the way you have just asked it.
Yeah.
How much are you going to pay me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
For sure, that's even if you're doing well, up to that point, you're more likely than not to lose that interview.
Okay, don't ask that question. Don't. Don't, again, because we do not want you to lack the jobs. But someone else would ask, how about for those people who don't struggle to get jobs? Just because I know someone who knows someone, then I get a job.
I think that is a huge misconception. Those kind of people. But it's a huge misconception, because I find, save for the government, where that is something that is in the norm, or some very large NGOs where that is also the norm. Most jobs are competitive. So even someone might field their candidate, but they have to beat other candidates. So while that is present, I would not say that is the situation. And people use that a lot as an excuse for not working hard to find a job. Okay. Otherwise, if that was the case, agencies like ours would not be in existence.
So is it wrong to ask for a friend of a friend to actually look for a job for you? Is it wrong? Or do you, as much as you ask from this person, you also have to show an initiative? Is it?
Personally, if you come to me and tell me my brother needs a job, I'm more likely than not to give him one.
Why?
Because he has not presented himself. And my experience has been where relatives are finding a job for someone, that person is more likely not to perform than one who came themselves. I would rather you say your brother will come and see me. Then let him come and tell me that he's looking for a job. When you rely on people who know people, it's okay. Ask them, I'm looking for a job. Do you know anywhere there is a vacancy? You're also putting it out there that you're looking. That's okay. But if you're sitting back watching Netflix at home, waiting for your brother to find you a job, then even your chances of succeeding in life are very slim. Are very, very slim. So I would rather, if you're coming to me and saying, okay, I have this relative who's looking for a job, put them in touch with us. Let them come and actually look for that job with us. But if you send the CV to me and expect I will do wonders on this other side, first of all, I have an obligation to my client to deliver the best quality candidate I can find. So I'm not just going to pick anyone or because I know you.
Yeah. Okay, we have someone else who's saying the issue of relatives looking for other people's job is what is failing those who are good but do not have the opportunity.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That
So you
is-
might go to campus, you've passed, literally passed,
Yeah.
but you don't have the opportunity because someone else is putting in their brother to that job.
That is correct. However, when we're looking at grades, I will tell you there are very specific jobs where they will actually look at the grades you got in campus. That does not mean that you shouldn't pass.
Yes.
You should pass.
Yeah.
But that's another sense of entitlement that I get. That I went to campus, I got my my first class degree. I should get a job.
Yeah.
But you see, there are very few organizations that will hire people who have zero experience. And I think that's another contentious issue.
Yeah.
But the few organizations that will hire with that experience, so that means you must get your grades really high for you to get that into that route, because they will hire either management trainees or they will hire directly maybe audit firms and things like that. However, try and get some experience when you're in campus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do volunteer work, do internships, walk into someone's office and tell them, I will work for you for free. I doubt they will refuse. You understand?
Yeah.
At least have an understanding of the work environment. What does it entail? What does it mean to work from 8 to 5? What does it mean to be given work and to deliver, and to be given targets and to deliver that? In terms of contentiousness, in terms of I've finished campus, what kind of experience are you expecting from me? Many times you'll have enough time to do it. If you're in a public university, the breaks are usually quite long.
Yeah.
So, and I have, like in my office right now, I have 2 employees who actually are in campus, and they applied for the
Wow.
jobs.
And they got the
And
jobs.
they got the jobs. Actually 3 who applied for the jobs, and they got the jobs on their own merit. I actually didn't even know they were still in campus, because I'm
Yeah.
not even the one who did the interviews.
Yes.
So I feel like there's so much more a young person can do, because they have so much more energy than like the rest of us. But if you leave campus with that extra experience, 2-3 months, you're better off than your colleagues for sure.
Well, Lucy, there's a question that has come in, and I just wanted to dive through it before we talk about the issue of experience. So Wangoi is asking, hi, great discussion. Please talk about social media and job seeking. I find social media to be telling a lot about a person. Do you do social media checks during your interviews? That's a question from Wangoi.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Prior to sending CVs to clients, we will do a primary check. Prior to hiring a candidate, we probably go through a thorough background check. Nowadays, even background check agencies will give you criminal checks, medical checks, social media checks.
Wow. Medical checks.
Yes. So they'll give you, maybe if I can go into social media, they will check all your appearances on social media. Anything that has been seen to be of any, say, for example, violent in nature, or sexual nature, or political nature, anything that would bring out another side of you that perhaps you will, of course, not give during the interview process. Especially for very sensitive roles, management positions, where influence over other employees is also critical. So you will find that is quickly becoming a critical check. And the people who actually right now specialize in social media checks, people who can hack even your email. Well, I don't know how they do it, but I know they actually will give you a report on everything that the person has been doing online.
So if I'm getting you right, you're clearly pointing out that we should be careful on what we're posting on our social media pages.
That is correct.
And they're very diverse. The applications and the platforms are so many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually what they'll do, they'll not, sometimes you might even think that, because I have a different name for my Facebook page, I can put whatever I want. But there are certain things that are unique to you. Now remember, there's face recognition. So whether or not it's your name, if you have ever posted a photo in that profile, so unless you're going to do a completely pseudo account, but still, I mean, you don't want these things that can be tracked. The IP addresses that can link them to you.
Yeah.
If you're using your social media on your phone, it can be tracked to you. So there's so many ways that tech can find you. So just keep it clean.
Yeah, keep it clean. Hey, tech is scary, people. Tech is scary.
Yeah.
And we have a person texting in, greetings. What would you advise to a person to proceed immediately with their master's after their first degree with the hope of having an upper hand over others? Or does experience count, and would they be considered overqualified?
I would say experience trumps masters any day.
Yeah.
And that's a mistake that we find. That you say you finish campus at the age of 23, 24, and then you proceed for a master's degree 2 years later, so you'll be coming out at around 26.
Yes.
Your colleagues at 26 all have experience.
2 years experience.
Yes, so we are more likely to pick the one who has experience. Number two, a lot of employers are shying away from very qualified individuals because
Why?
they tend to be very entitled. And you see, they're not only hiring, these are the four things that someone will hire for. They'll hire for experience, number one. They'll hire for qualifications. They'll hire for attitude. And they'll hire for culture.
Wow.
So the two are what usually we think about when we're looking for a job. But if your attitude is wrong, it doesn't matter how good you are. You probably will not be able to work well with your colleagues, and you probably will not deliver whatever your employer wants.
Yes.
If your culture fit is wrong, it's the same thing. So, for example, you have very corporate experience. Moving into an NGO space will be a bit difficult, or moving into an SME, MSME space will be very difficult. So those are things that we will look for aside from just experience and qualifications. So qualifications, remember, it takes us, say for example, if we're going to do a proper quadrant, that would be 25%. So if you have the actual degree, that would be good. Unless you're looking for a management position where master's degrees are usually expected or desirable. If it's your first job, you don't quite need a master's degree at that particular time.
That's very important to note there. We have a question here. What answer do I give to my interviewer who asks me, how much do you expect as salary?
I would expect that you have done a bit of research. Number one, that you know that this kind of job pays this amount of money. Number two, also, if you have been working before, that will be a comparison to what you're looking for. So, for example, if you're earning 10,000 and the job pays 50,000, and you really want this 50,000, you will have to explain to an interviewer why you want to times 5 your salary. Your so whether or not they're paying this 50,000, you have to explain why. So I will always advise that you give a range. I would say, if the job is paying 50, to say I would take between 45 and 55. For these reasons, when I took the 10K job, I was an intern. I have now grown my skills, my experience is at this level. If I was to get into an entry-level position, this is probably where I would be comfortable in. And then that allows them also negotiation space, and people are comfortable in a space they can negotiate.
And it's allowed to actually tell them that you've gone too low. Can we please meet at this point? Is it okay to negotiate?
Yes. I mean, at the end of the day, you know your worth.
Yeah.
You know your worth. And you see, it also heavily depends on how that interview went. If you super impress them, then a money discussion is very easy.
Yeah.
But if you're just coming from, from I don't know what space, and the interview didn't go particularly well, and then you're asking for a lot of money, then that doesn't go well.
They'll clearly let you go and say next.
Yes.
All right. Steve Mawia is asking, okay, that's about another issue, but I would love to know about the issue of, we've touched on it kidogo, about the issue of experience. So you would see a job advert somewhere and saying that the experience should be 3 years, and you're qualified for everything else but the experience part. How do we go about that?
First of all, we must manage our expectations.
Yeah.
All right. So I see a lot of people straight from campus applying for management positions, which is, for lack of a better word, is ridiculous. I mean, you must accept that there'll be a growth process. Growth means you will start from the bottom. Many times it'll be tough going up, and if you have managed your expectations well, then you'll find that even growth becomes more fun. So if you know that I want to become a manager in the finance department, and have just finished my my degree, I have done my CPAs, you probably want to do some volunteer work. All right, just to show someone that actually I can balance books. You understand? So by that time, you know, okay, I can balance some books. I can do a bit of bookkeeping. So then you go to an uncle, to a friend, whatever, find a shop. Say, can I balance your books for you?
Yeah.
You can pay me 500 shillings if I do a good job for my fare. You understand? So if you were to get that kind of experience, when you walk into an office that can actually pay you a proper salary, you can say, I haven't worked in a formal position, but this is the experience I've gathered, and these are my credentials, and this is what I'm able to deliver for you. Everyone will be willing to have that conversation.
Okay, so what do you think is the role of government and individuals, and in this case I'm talking about the youth? What do you think is their role to make sure that there is a balance when it comes to employment rate in our country?
I would say straight, I mean, if you manage government well,
Yeah.
if you just manage government well, if we cut down on corruption, if we have a thriving economy, that's all we need to have a proper job market. I don't think there's any initiative that the government can do that can surpass the economic situation that is there.
Yeah.
As for youth, I feel like we should work harder.
Okay.
Work harder in terms of being smart about the decisions we are making about career. We shouldn't expect that things will just work out when you finish campus. I believe the most depressed people are at the age of 25 because at that time you were in campus, you thought you were going to have a thriving career. The people at the top of the class were picked by the big four. They are now having jobs. In a few months they have cars.
Yeah.
You're still job hunting. And then you talk to your relatives, no one wants to help you. You don't know where to start. If you do a bit more research in terms of my career, what is that I really, really want to do? How do I get there?
Yeah.
What are the opportunities in this market? If they're not there, are there any jobs online that I could do? Right now, the world is a global village. There's so many other opportunities that have opened up beyond the desk job that we are used to. I have a lot of people who do writing. When they come in, so a lot of young people will come in. I'm looking for a job, yes, but I'm also doing online writing, or I'm doing online forex, or I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm a virtual assistant on Upwork. There's a lot of other opportunities that can be found online that a lot of youth are just not utilizing. So there's a few smart people who are making a killing. I will tell you, the people who are making up to 60,000, and they're straight from campus. You understand? So just have an open mind. Don't be afraid of getting your hands dirty. Don't be afraid of hard work, and you'll make it.
You'll make it. So there is hope.
There is hope.
All right. Thank you so much, Lucy, for coming today. I have learnt a lot, and I hope you have learnt a lot at home. Thank you so much for tuning in to This Is The Day. My name is Sarah Otieno, and I will see you tomorrow.